expertise, experience, your natural talents, and taking that into the nonprofit organization and working on some projects that are vital for the mission of that particular organization. And it's a big opportunity because in the nonprofit sector I found out that there's been budget cuts, there's a reduction of staff, and a lot of the staff that they have are not expertise in a lot of fields that they need help in. So here's an opportunity for the seniors, the baby boomers that still might be working, that's transitioning, or might be out of the workforce, to take some of those skills and to help out an organization and, bottom line, really make a difference. A win-win situation. It's a win-win situation for the nonprofit organization, and it's a win-win situation for you. It's kind of interesting when you take a look at your skills. When I took a look at my skills before I got into volunteering, you know, I'm a finance person, a number cruncher. If you go on my LinkedIn account, and I have people endorsing me, I'm not being endorsed for the finance at all. I'm being endorsed for inventory management. So you can't discount the skills that you have, because in some of the projects that I worked on a real estate project, a marketing data analysis project, and I put a human resource 401k and health plan in. Surely, I'm not an expertise in any of those fields. I have knowledge of it. But in regards to the nonprofit community, I was an expert. So skills are very important to know what your skills are if you want to volunteer and make a difference. I gave everybody a pink slip of paper, and what I would like you to do is jot down your skills, your experience, your personal talents that you can take into a nonprofit environment, and keep an open mind in regard to all your skills that you can offer. I think a qualification is skills that you enjoy doing, because that's important. If you're going to volunteer and make a difference, you want to have fun at it. You don't want it to be, you know, that you're not having a good time. You want to accomplish, you feel good about what you're doing at the end of the day. But, you know, a lot of us in the past on our regular work jobs, I know myself, I did a lot of work that, you know, I really didn't enjoy. So at this time in our lives is you want to make a difference and have a good time. Not all the nonprofits are organizationally ready to have skill-based volunteers. You know, went to the office and worked, and others I worked at home. I was in a very flexible environment. But for an organization to be ready, they need strong executive leadership. And they're really mission focused. Everything has to do with the mission of the organization. And that's the executive director, the staff, the board. Unlike the profit community, it's totally focused. And they create deep social impact in that they measure everything to see what the results are. No matter what program it is, they want to know the results and if they're making a difference. And effective relationship building that they're partnering with other nonprofit agencies. Probably the most important is the organization stability. It's no different than going into any organization. How's the management team, the staff? Have they been around for a long time? You really evaluate an organization, how good it is, based upon the team, and that's very important. And if a nonprofit doesn't have a real strong management team or a fairly new management team, that the skill-based volunteering might not be for them till they get up and running to, you know, be on board to accept the skilled volunteers. And the engagement of the skilled volunteers is that you're part of the staff and you're working on projects that are mission driven. And those are the important things. And mostly because they're using your skills. You have skills to offer. You want to go there and you want to, at the end of the day, you felt like you made a difference. And you did make a difference. So the organization has to be ready. So that's important to be aware of. There's project readiness. You know, I think a lot of the skill-based volunteering is based upon projects. And for example, there's one organization that needs a web developer, okay? And for it to be a successful hire, that organization needs to have the goals, the scope, the milestone, how long it's going to take, so that when they bring in a skilled volunteer web developer, he or she knows exactly what the expectations are. And that's very important. And there's a clear buy-in and decision-making for the whole staff. If they have a meeting, most of the staff and the executive director is going to be there because they're all going to have input in regards to the website. And that's a key indicator. The third thing is to find project leadership. If you're going to volunteer, who are you going to report to? Is it the executive director? And the web developer could report to the IT department head, if they have one, or somebody in the marketing department, or the executive director. And a lot of organizations have a volunteer coordinator that will oversee the process to make sure everything is running correctly. And the other thing is the post-supported plan. The web developer is going to create a website. He or she is going to feel great about it, and the organization, the website hasn't been up for a long time, and it's up and running. Who in the organization is going to maintain that website? So in a period of 60, 90, 120 days, they're not back in the same situation again. That has to be decided up front, and who's going to own that. It makes a big difference in the projects that you're working on. So that's project readiness, and again, my experience has been, there has not been any issues. Again, everything went so smoothly in regards to volunteering, and I felt like I made a difference, and they seemed like they were pleased with the results too. So it was a win-win situation, and it was very gratifying. The next slides I'm going to run through real quickly. It's based upon the traditional versus skills-based approach. Traditional approach it always will be around. It's very important. And it's really taking skilled workers, and we all done it before, and we did non-skilled type of functions, okay? And it's very important. The volunteers in the traditional approach serve secondary functions, and on the skill-based approach is central to the mission because they're working on projects that's really going to make a difference in regards to the organization's results and to accomplish its mission. The volunteer program exists because of history. They have the newsletter. It needs to be put together. It needs to be sent out. It's an annual thing. Again, it's critical. However, compared to a skill-based approach, the volunteers is tied to the structured plan of the organization. They're part of the organization. And it doesn't mean that you have to be at the nonprofit organization all the time working. You could be working from home and reporting your results in the meeting, but you're considered part of that organization. On a traditional approach, the management of volunteers, centralized program. A lot of times there's a volunteer coordinator managing the group of volunteers. And I'm sure we've all been involved in that process before. Versus the skill-based approach, the volunteer involvement and supervision is everybody's responsibility. It's your teammate in regards to the organization, and you're part of that staff, and different than the traditional approach. Again, the volunteers traditional is used in non-skilled positions. Volunteers are equal partners with equal involvement in the skill-based approach. Volunteers assign job duties in the traditional approach, and in a lot of the positions that you're going to use your skills, they're looking for your expertise. They don't have the expertise. They're looking for your creativity, thinking out of the box. It's no different than we all work for companies to bring in consultants, and we have ideas, and it's the same ideas the consultants come up with, and they implement, the consultant suggestions. We're really consultants, having skills, bringing into that particular nonprofit organization, and they're going to listen to us because we're an expert in that particular field. And again, sometimes the volunteers, again, on the traditional approach, they're definitely are necessary to fill the mission. It's very, very important. And the volunteers are thought more essential to meeting the mission because they're just part of that staff. I've worked on different projects. What really surprised me was that I didn't feel like I had that many skills. When, I wrote down, after I wrote down on the list, like you've done. I really, when I started volunteering, I didn't have any passions on any particular organization because my focus over my work career has been work. Work every day and never took the time to volunteer. So I said whenever I leave the workforce, I want to spend some time in regards to making a difference and volunteering. And I wanted that volunteering to be taking some of my skills and making a difference someplace at different organizations. I knew when I left the workforce I didn't have any hobbies. I live by the water. I like boating, but I can't swim, so that wasn't an option. So again, it was pretty clear cut with myself in regards to what I wanted to do. So, my advice in volunteering, and a lot of you already have, is project-based is great, and go slowly and take your time in regards to the commitment that you're going to make. And whatever you do, it's surely going to be appreciated by the nonprofit organizations. If you have the time and the flexibility in your schedule, and if you want to take the skills that you have and make a difference in the organization, then there's a big opportunity out there. And at the end of the day, you want to have fun doing it. And it's been great. The projects I've been involved in, the time I've been in Serve Rhode Island, and it's very rewarding. I think at the end of the day, if you have time on your hands, it's a great way to make a difference. And it's well appreciated too by the organization.